Hey everybody, welcome back. So it's usually around this time every year that I attend Flashback Weekend. Now obviously with everything going on, Flashback Weekend is not happening this year. And obviously that really bums me out for a number of reasons. One, not only do I just love going, but it's also, especially now, one of the few times I get to see a bunch of my friends. And not only my close personal friends, but also, what I call my convention friends. People I only see when I go to like different conventions and film events and everything. And some of the dealers and stuff where I get to buy some cool stuff, and then obviously all the amazing Q&As and everything. So I decided to just make a video on just a couple of my favorite memories of Flashback Weekend over the years. Starting off with probably more recently, just last summer, which I did do a video on, is obviously when I met Sam Raimi, which was a super big deal. It was the first time I had met him. And obviously he's like a huge influence on me. So that was really special, and I absolutely love my photo op with him, which where I was just like, hey, why don't I kind of say I'm setting up a shot, and you're just like, no. So obviously he was gung-ho for it, and it's just like, I absolutely love that photo op. There's also one that I did with my buddy Jerry with Bruce Campbell last summer, where I basically had this idea where just like we were like super excited to meet him, and I told him to just be like, yeah, whatever. So we have this I think a really funny photo of the three of us. And they also did a Night of the Creeps reunion with everybody there, so that was really a lot of fun. And they also had the three leads, including the great Tom Atkins, in costume. So I also got my buddy Jerry to kind of join me in on that one. And then, like 2 years ago, there was like the Fright Night reunion. That was obviously a lot. I talk about Fright Night a lot and how much I love it, so that one obviously meant a lot to me. And they had almost everybody there, so I was able to obviously get a photo with everybody. And one of the other ones that really means a lot to me, which is actually I have just behind my desk, is a photo of the three leads, William Ragsdale, Amanda Bears, and Stephen Jeffries. And it's like, that meant a lot to me because growing up, because I watched the film so much, it's almost like they were like friends. So it was like me kind of joining them, if that made sense. So that one means a lot to me because it was almost like what I call the friends photo op. And it was just like, I got to kind of join them in that. And then there was the fun one with just, Stephen Jeffries in the Evil Ed makeup. And I'm just like, hey, you can bite me on my neck. And he's just like, no. And I think that was the same year as the Jason's photo op, wasn't it? I think so. And that's the one where they had almost all the Jasons. They didn't have Kane Hodder, but they had pretty much all the other ones, including the late Steve Dash. And they did a photo op with everyone in Jason costumes, which I think is really cool. Now it's like, obviously you can look at it and be like, well, anyone could be in those costumes. I know it's them, so it means a lot to me. And one of my favorite things is obviously that they do these reunions, and that's kind of the thing each year, is that there's usually one or two reunions that they put together. And a lot of times there's even special screenings. Like I remember I've seen early on, I saw the 4K restoration of Phantasm that Don Coscarelli was there to introduce. And that was a lot of fun. I had a lot of fun also taking a picture with him and got to talk to him for a bit. But also the Suspiria restoration, saw that a couple of years ago. I think that at that point, I think it was only the second time it had ever been shown. And then there was also like a Night of the Living Dead reunion, and they showed like a 35mm print of that. And of course they had a bunch of people from that. That was like early on. You could tell because I was a lot heavier at the time. But I remember Bill Hintzman was there. He actually, I think it was Saturday, where he actually put on like the zombie makeup. So for those of you who don't know, he's actually the first zombie in Night of the Living Dead at the very beginning. He's also one of the camera operators, but he's also the very first zombie. So really happy I got to meet him and see him in his costume. And there've been so many other reunions, like Nightmare on Elm Street, like the original Nightmare on Elm Street, where they had so many people from that. That was before they were doing group photos and stuff, which is kind of a shame. That would have been a cool one to have, but at least that's when I was able to get most of the people on my Nightmare on Elm Street poster. And more recently, they did a Nightmare 4 reunion, which was really awesome. That's a photo op I absolutely love having. And they also did like a Freddy vs. Jason reunion. That was really cool. That's where I think that's where I got the photo op of Robert Englund and Ken Kurtzinger, and I had them repeat the poster image of Freddy vs. Jason with just me in the middle. I'm always trying to come up with those stupid ideas for photo ops. And then there was the Scream reunion, where I basically was just like, it's Scream. Let's all scream for the photo. And they were happy to go along with that one. And at times they would have like mini reunions where, if they couldn't get a bunch of people, they would still get like a couple of them to kind of go along with some some other big reunion that they were doing at the con. So it's like, you know, I would meet like the Ginger Snaps girls, you know, Emily Perkins and Catherine Isabel. It was like a mini Revenge of the Nerds one. This actually came up with my memories actually yesterday when I'm recording this. And that photo op was a lot of fun. I actually did that little costume, and basically they were sort of like making me a nerd. That was sort of the whole point of that. And there was like the Halloween remake reunion with like the three leads from that, the three girls. And I basically had it set up where they're all looking at me almost like in horror and disgust, and I'm like, what? And that was definitely one that when I went back to get them to sign it, they all got a kick out of that. And then also one of my favorite reunions that they've done, of course, was the Halloween 3 reunion, where they basically just had everyone there, and that obviously is so special to me. Getting to meet all of them or re-meet some of them, you know, obviously I get to see Tom Atkins again, but they had Tom Atkins and Stacey Nelkin there, so I was able to even get like another photo with just the three of us together. And of course they had the great Dean Cundy there, who I've mentioned before is one of my idols when it comes to cinematography, so that one was definitely one of my favorites. And the nice thing too is that times you get to meet very interesting people that, you know, maybe not there technically for a reunion, but they just managed to kind of get them anyway. Like John Carroll Lynch was there one year. I'm a big fan of his. He was, especially at the time, because I was like really a big fan of the movie Zodiac. But I mean, he's been in like a million things. But even people like Christina Lindbergh, I got to meet her one year, and that was, I mean, absolutely amazing. Like, how many chances did you get to meet Christina Lindbergh? Or like Robert Kerman, who, you know, was in Cannibal Holocaust, you know, and then there were people I got to meet, which was nice, you know, who have unfortunately since passed away. Well, actually, he was one of them. But obviously, like Sid Haig, Marilyn Burns, and Angus Scrimm, and Stuart Gordon, John Saxon, obviously George Romero, who I was lucky enough to meet several times. But definitely the last show he was at, that one was really special for a multitude of reasons, because they were also doing a Dawn of the Dead reunion that weekend. So I know I've mentioned the George Romero one like several times, you know, that was the last time I got to see him. But they also had the lead, so it actually has also another one of my favorite photo ops, which is with all of them together. And obviously, because, you know, Dawn is one of my top 3 favorite films of all time, that really means so much to me. You know, it's funny because I think at the time too, I was just like, do I really want to get that photo op? And it's like, it's funny because to think about it now, I'm like, why would I even like pause for even a moment about trying to decide whether or not I might want it? It's like, yes. The answer is always yes. And a lot of times people ask me, like, what is my favorite sort of photo op? And I would probably say, for a multitude of reasons, my favorite photo op is probably the one with Robert Englund when he put on the Freddy makeup. That one was special for so many reasons, because obviously as a kid growing up, you know, watching Nightmare on Elm Street and the sequels and everything, being a massive Freddy fan, I mean, to grow up and actually have a photo with myself and Freddy himself, you know, in a photo. I mean, like, if you told me that when I was a kid, like, I would have been like, that's insane. That's never going to happen. And yet it happened. I got that chance. And that was, oh man. Even looking at it now, like, I mean, that's definitely one where every time I look at it, I'm like, it costs a lot of money, but man, was it worth it. You know, that's kind of one of those, like, when you're like 90 years old, I always kind of want to, you know, squint because I probably won't be able to see anything and sort of just look at it. And I know that's just going to make me smile for like the rest of my life. Not sure that one can be topped. And like I said before, I mean, one of the things I miss is just, you know, really seeing all my friends and everything. So, you know, kind of a bummer. Obviously understandable as to why it's not happening this year. It's not that. It's just the fact that I just miss it horribly. So I can't wait for next year and to be able to go back. So I just want to take this quick walk down memory lane with you guys. So here's the Flashback Weekend. I can't wait to go back next year. As always, thank you for watching, and I will see you on the next one.